So you want to try vermiculture. What is vermiculture? Well, vermiculture is the raising of worms in order to compost waste materials such as food scraps or newspapers or cardboard. Newspaper is a great example of a waste material that you can use during vermiculture. Not only is it a food source for your worms, but it also makes a great bedding so that they are nice and cozy. What do worms eat? Now, just like humans, worms need to be careful how much junk food they eat, as it will make them slow and sluggish and will reduce the rate in which they devour your compost. So, as a general rule, stick to fruits and veggies. Now be careful because anything that is spicy or too acidic will hurt your worms. This is a picture of food donated by Sage Dining Services to help me in my effort to be green. I thank them so much for their support. Now you may be wondering, what type of worm should you use? Well, I used a type of worm called a red wiggler worm, which are known for their composting abilities. But you could also use a type of worm called the Alabama jumper, which does just as well. It's just up to you and your personal preference. Now here are some pictures of when I received my worms in the mail and when I got to meet them for the first time. When I first received my worms in the mail, I was so excited and I couldn't wait to get them into their new home, which I had spent weeks preparing. So when I opened the bag, I was a little confused when all I saw was soil and it was quite dark. And I wasn't really sure if 2,000 worms were really in that bag, but let me tell you, they were. And when I stuck my hand in the bag and tried to help them into their new home, they were wiggling and crawling. It was one of the craziest things I've ever felt in my life, as you can tell from a few of the pictures. But I was so happy to have them, and it was the greatest feeling. Two things that you need to be aware of when you're taking care of your worm bin is the pH of the bin, which should be between a 6.5 and a 7, and if there are any intruders in your bin, such as bin mites. And if all goes well in your vermiculture bin, you could end up with worm eggs that will eventually hatch into worm babies, like this one. So one of the things that I didn't get a chance to talk about in my video was why I decided to start this project in the first place, which I think is a good thing to bring up. I mean, what normal 17-year-old girl wants to play with worms, but I learned a lot of things about this project that I didn't know before that made it a lot more intriguing. Like, it's very, very environmentally reduces the amount of food waste and other types of waste that are put into our landfills. It also is green by its products, what it puts out. The compost that is created by the worms, which is actually called castings, is one of the best fertilizers that you can get. And not only is it a great fertilizer, but it's also environmentally friendly as there's no harsh chemicals in it. It's all natural. And by no stretch of the imagination was this project easy. I encountered bin mites, which took weeks and weeks, if not 5 weeks, to actually reduce the population to the amount where I didn't have to wipe the bin down 2 times a day. But I've successfully done that, and I also had problems with drainage issues where the water would kind of back up, which is probably what brought the mites in the first place. And while I'm, not done with my project yet, I have, accomplished a few of the goals that I set out to do. Like, I wanted to have a successful worm bin going by this time of the year, which is December. But I'd also like in the future to have another successful worm bin and have enough time gone underway that I could successfully harvest the castings, the composting material, so that other students in my class could actually use the material, which is my utmost goal. So I'm not done. I have quite a bit of work to go, but I've made quite a few strides that I'm really proud of, and I'm just going to have to keep going with what I'm doing and kind of see how things play out like I did in the beginning.